You are chosen long before you knew your own name. There is a fire inside you that refuses to go out, and it's not because you're anxious, and it's not because you're impatient. It's because there is a mission written into your very DNA that will not leave you alone until you fulfill it. This isn't some human pressure. This is a divine calling. Stay with me until the end. Before we finish, I'm going to give you a 3-step protocol you can use today to get absolute clarity on why you were put on this planet. You wake up in the morning with that nagging feeling that you should be doing something bigger. It's not just ambition. It's a restlessness you can't quite name. A strange mix of feeling completely inadequate and yet absolutely certain that you were made for more than this. You look at your 8 a.m. routine and you feel like you're wasting the day before it even begins. It's not laziness. It's a silent ache in your chest, somewhere between your first cup of coffee and your first meeting. A pain you've learned to swallow, but one that never truly goes away. There are nights when you lie in bed staring at the ceiling at 11:01 p.m. thinking, why haven't I started? Why do I feel the call but I'm still standing still? It's not a lack of will. It's an invisible barrier that you haven't found a name for yet. Sometimes you see someone else living out their purpose and you feel a confusing mix of pride and pain. It's not jealousy. It's recognition. It's your spirit telling you that you belong there too. But something is still holding you back. Something you can't quite identify, but you feel with total clarity. The fact that you're still standing? That's no small thing. It means the mission is still active. Hitting the like button is your public amen. The universe records what you confess in the light. You weren't placed here by accident. Every step you've taken, the ones you got right and the ones you call mistakes, were part of the training. You aren't late. You're arriving exactly on time. Here is what you're going to receive today. The spiritual truth behind the restlessness that won't quit. What you've been calling anxiety or a lack of direction is actually the pressure of a divine calling trying to break through. It's not a problem. It's a signal. You seek. You dedicate yourself. You do everything right, and yet abundance never comes. And the worst part, you start wondering if you're doing something wrong, if you're being heard up above, if it's meant for you at all. It's not a lack of faith or worthiness. It's a spiritual blockage that ordinary prayer alone cannot break. The Miracle Journal unblocks this in 21 days with a spiritual protocol that works exactly where your prayer doesn't reach. Along with the journal, you'll also receive as a gift the prayer guide and the Psalms manual with the most powerful sacred practices and texts to deepen your transformation. To claim your version of the journal, tap the link in the comments right below this video. It's not a problem. It's a signal. I have a 3-step protocol you can execute today. Not tomorrow. Not when things settle down. Not when you feel ready. Today. And I have a declaration for you to carry into tomorrow. A word that will reorient everything you do in the coming days. Stay until the end. Don't break the connection. What comes next is what changes the decisions you make tonight. Close your eyes for a second. If you can, look away from the screen for just a moment. What I'm about to tell you requires your full attention, because these are signs you recognize but maybe have never named correctly. The first sign is the tension in your chest every time you see someone else fulfilling their purpose. You called it envy. Maybe you even felt ashamed of it. But it's not envy. It's recognition. Your spirit is identifying something that belongs to you too. That's not a character flaw. It's evidence of a calling. The second sign is the feeling of being out of place. You're functional. You deliver. You check the boxes. But you feel like you're playing the wrong role in the right play. Like you're occupying a space that belongs to you, but it isn't your final destination. You aren't out of place by accident. You're in an environment that has become too small for what was deposited inside you. That's not ego. That's a spiritual diagnosis. The third sign is knowing the call, but failing to act. You know what you should be doing. Sometimes you even have the plan. But there's a paralysis that defies logic, a transparent wall between you and that first step. That isn't a lack of courage. That is an active spiritual block. The enemy doesn't need to convince you to abandon the call. He just needs to paralyze you before you start. The fourth sign is being exhausted without having done anything. You wake up tired, not from work, but from carrying the weight of something that hasn't moved. It's the weight of an unfulfilled mission. A withheld blessing is heavy. A purpose that doesn't flow consumes energy just by sitting stagnant inside you. And the fifth sign, perhaps the most important, is that certainty you can't switch off. Even on your worst nights, even when the world says otherwise. A conviction that you were meant for more. That isn't arrogance. It's the spiritual memory of what was spoken over you before you were born. Type free in the comments if this word is hitting home for you. Close your eyes again. Take a deep breath. This doesn't work if your mind is divided. Before Jeremiah ever understood his calling, he had already been chosen. The word that came to him was direct. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. But Jeremiah didn't want it. His response was immediate. Alas, sovereign Lord, I do not know how to speak. I am too young. He had every reason not to go. His most convincing argument was his own feeling of being unprepared, that he wasn't enough yet, that something was missing, and that is exactly the person who was chosen. Not in spite of the hesitation, but with it. I knew you before you knew yourself. Your mission never depended on you feeling ready. Think about architects who spend years designing skyscrapers in their heads. They know how the structure works. They know the blueprints. They can see the finished product with perfect precision. But the building doesn't exist until the first brick is laid. It's not because the architect is incapable. He knows more about that building than anyone else. It's because designing and executing are two completely different acts. An invisible block between the two keeps the building stuck in the imagination, perfect in the mind, non-existent in the world. You have the blueprint. What's missing isn't talent or a calling. It's removing the block between the plan and the first step. Tell me in the comments which one you identify with more, Jeremiah or the architect. Let me stop for one full minute. You didn't end up here by accident. You're here because something inside you recognized that this message was for you. And I want you to hear 3 objective facts about where you are right now before we go any further. First, you have a real calling. This isn't a vague feeling or ambition dressed up as spirituality. It is something that was deposited in you before you were born, and it has stayed active whether you acted on it or not. Second, there are specific blocks between you and that calling, and they don't go away by waiting. They don't yield to another year of thinking about it. They yield to ordered action. Third, you are still standing, still searching, still here, which means the calling hasn't been canceled. It's been preserved, specifically for this moment. And here is who you are in the middle of all this. What you're about to hear isn't a human title. It's what I call you when I speak to heaven about you. I put you here for this hour, not for an easier version of this hour, for this one. Every single thing that tried to make you quit was a test of the calling's authenticity, not proof that you were forgotten. I don't forget the ones I chose. The first identity is the one set apart from birth. You were separated before you understood why, before any merit, before any achievement, before any proof of your capacity. What authorizes this identity isn't what you did. It's what was decided before you existed. Every experience that felt like a waste was actually calibration. You were formed, not just called. And what you're called to do isn't just to do something for God. It's to manifest something of God that can only come through you. There is no substitute. No one else carries exactly what you carry. The second identity is the bearer of the non-negotiable mission. There is something only you can do, in the exact spot where you are, with what you carry. Not someone like you. You. That restlessness you felt for years wasn't a character flaw. It was the mission refusing to be buried for one more day. What this identity authorizes is this: you don't need human permission to start. The decree has already been issued. Heaven has already signed off. The third identity is the one destined for divine restlessness. You could never be content with less because you weren't made for less. It's not a pathological anxiety, it's an instinctive loyalty to your purpose. The exhaustion of not fulfilling the call is greater than the effort of fulfilling it. You already know this. You feel it in your body every time a day passes without movement. True rest doesn't come from stopping. It comes from alignment. When you start moving toward the mission, even the fatigue has a purpose. And a purpose with fatigue is much lighter than stagnation without it. Write the name of the identity you recognize in yourself in the comments. Set apart, bearer, or restless. Subscribe to the channel so the next word finds you already positioned in your calling. Before I go, I want to give you what I promised. The 3-step protocol for the active calling. Step 1. Name it out loud. Tonight, before you go to sleep, say it out loud. Not in your head, it's out loud. What you feel you were born to do. It doesn't have to be the perfect sentence. It doesn't have to be eloquent. It just has to come out of your mouth. A calling that is named out loud begins to have an address in the physical world. It stops existing only inside you and enters the space where things actually happen. Step 2. Identify one specific block. Ask yourself, what is one thing I already know I should do but haven't done yet? Write it down. Don't analyze it. Don't justify it. Don't build an argument for both sides. Just write it. A named block is an exposed block. An exposed block is a block that is ready to be moved. Step 3. The minimum viable action. Identify the smallest possible action you can take toward that call. A phone call, a text, a note, a registration, a conversation. Not the perfect action. The smallest one. And do it before you sleep tonight. Not tomorrow. Today. When you complete these 3 steps, you're going to feel a specific kind of quiet. Not euphoria, not excitement, not that hype that comes and goes. A quiet, like when something that's been waiting finally clicks into place. That is the sign that the decree has been activated. But I need to prepare you for what comes next. In the next 72 hours, 3 things will be thrown at you. Not as a possibility, as a certainty. The first is the argument of the wrong timing. It will arrive as an unexpected circumstance, a practical problem, a small emergency, an unforeseen hiccup that feels urgent. And it will make it seem like this is exactly the wrong moment to start. The calling will seem irresponsible compared to the practical stuff. The specific weapon of this tactic is the appearance of responsibility. It makes waiting feel like the mature thing to do. The decree against this is, there is no perfect moment. The calling doesn't wait for circumstances. It creates them. The second is the voice of insufficiency. It will come as your own thought, your own voice, in your own head, telling you that you aren't prepared yet, that you're still missing something, that others are more qualified than you. The specific weapon here is familiarity. Because it's your voice, you'll believe it's your own rational conclusion. It isn't. The decree against this is, I was set apart before I felt ready. Preparation isn't a prerequisite for the call. It's a process within the call. The third is the substitution offer. Something will show up that looks urgent and productive. Something good, not obviously bad, that will fill the space meant for that first step of your calling. The specific weapon here is that it won't feel like a distraction. It will feel like efficiency. It will feel like you're being smart. The decree against this is, no good deed can replace the right action. And after those 3, the most subtle blow will come. The feeling that the moment has passed, that you missed the window, that the message was beautiful but it wasn't really for you. This is the internal enemy. Your own voice disguised as a spiritual maturity, saying it's too late. The answer to that is simple. The window doesn't close. The calling has no expiration date. Type "protected" in the comments. The decree is sealed. Before you leave, do this with me. Place your right hand over your heart. Feel the beat. That heart is still beating, which means the mission is still active. As long as there is a beat, there is a calling. As long as there is a calling, there is time. Now, let go of everything you brought here today. The doubt about whether you were really chosen. The exhaustion of years spent waiting for a right moment that never seemed to arrive. The shame of the times you knew better and didn't act. The times you had clarity and let it slip. Let it go. That doesn't go with you from this point forward. I saw every night you spent staring at the ceiling thinking you'd missed your chance. I saw every morning you woke up exhausted from the weight of a stagnant calling. Before the day even began, already tired from carrying what hadn't moved. I saw the times you watched someone else and felt that mix of pride and pain and didn't know how to name what you were feeling. You weren't wasting time. You were being prepared for this exact moment. This video, this word, this decision. What is in you wasn't put there by accident, and it won't be removed by hesitation. No night of doubt can cancel what was decreed before you were born. You aren't the same person who was staring at the ceiling last night. You are who you've always been, but now you know. You are covered. Your mind is covered. Your relationships are covered. The timing is in the hands of the one who issued the call. And the mission, the specific mission that only you can fulfill, is protected. The decree was issued before you were born, and it stands. Nothing that happened between then and now has canceled what was sealed. Go. Not when you feel ready, not when the stars align, not when you have absolute certainty. Go now, with what you have, being who you are. Heaven covers the movement. What you need for the next step is already with you. Amen. Type "done" in the comments, and as you type it, you are declaring that you have received it. Now think of someone you know who is carrying this same restlessness. Someone who knows they were called but is standing still. Who feels they should be doing something greater, but can't take that first step. Send this video to them today, not tomorrow. They need to hear this now. And if they want to go deeper, the link is in the first comment, waiting just like it waited for you. The next video will pick up right where this one left off. Don't miss it. It is done. You are not the same person you were when this message started. You seek. You dedicate yourself. You do everything right, and yet abundance never comes. And the worst part, you start wondering if you're doing something wrong, if you're being heard up above, if it's meant for you at all. It's not a lack of faith or worthiness. It's a spiritual blockage that ordinary prayer alone cannot break. The Miracle Journal unblocks this in 21 days with a spiritual protocol that works exactly where your prayer doesn't reach. Along with the journal, you'll also receive as a gift the prayer guide and the Psalms manual with the most powerful sacred practices and texts to deepen your transformation. To claim your version of the journal, tap the link in the comments right below this video.